Welcome once again to Superhero Stuff You Should Know. This is the Ben Wing, and with me, as usual, is...
The Andrew Wing, your wingman, doing wingy things,
And,
typing in wing nuts.
We're back to doing rankings. The
Wingdings.
and I. Yes. We've got an upcoming Flash movie, and so there's going to be a couple new vehicles that we haven't discussed or ranked before. And so for this week, we're talking about the Batwing, or as it used to be called, the Batplane. And we're going to go through each of the ones in live action, including the one that'll be in the Flash, and rank them according to our tiers. So we're bringing back the tier maker, everybody, for anybody who missed it. So our usual rankings, for those who missed them, are S tier at the very top, then A, B, C, D, E for anything in between D and F. And then for F, we got the honorary, or not so the dishonorary goose egg / itlog, which means just flat out, not just an F, but a 0.
Goose egg.
Flat 0. Goose egg. Or itlog in Tagalog, as our assistant Dan has pointed out to us. So we've thrown that in there as a tribute to him, too.
It means just egg, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure in Tagalog.
Yeah. So these are the Batwings. We don't have nearly as many Batwings as we do Batmobiles or Gotham Cities or Batcaves, but we're going to do the best we can on this one. So in live action, we have a whole bunch of them, and I was thinking we'd go in reverse chronology this time. We usually start chronologically, but I think you and I have a similar opinion about the '89 Batwing, so we're going to save that one for last. And
this is an easy one, by the way. This is like usually
everyone knows where it's going to go.
Yeah. By the way, welcome to one of our shorter episodes, everybody. You probably saw the runtime when you clicked, and you were like, hey, all right.
I can watch this.
Don't have to listen to these jackasses too long this week. I can get on to something else.
It'll just me, or some people are just like, this is bullshit. It'll only cover my commute to work, but not back from work.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We'll see, or maybe we'll pad this out. But, it'll be in reverse chronology. The Batwing from the Snyderverse, the Bat from The Dark Knight Rises, the Batwing from Batman Forever, then the 1989 Batwing, and then we'll have some discussion and sort of a preliminary ranking for the upcoming Batwing in The Flash. So, again, this is just live action in the movies, but for the Patreon, we might expand into the other designs and animation. There's a lot more in animation, so maybe that's going to be where everybody needs to hear the longer episode.
Okay.
So, but yeah, let's start, however, with a brief history of the Batwing. So, just to go quickly into it, the Batwing was originally not even called the Batwing. It was originally not even called the Batplane. It was the Bat Gyro. And that's because
Gyro?
Or gyro. Yeah, that's probably how it is pronounced.
Like a gyroscope.
The autogyro was the name of this sort of early plane type of thing that had a propeller, and that's what the Bat Gyro looks like in Detective Comics number 31, as written by Gardner Fox, who also created the Batarang in the same issue. So Batarang and the early version of the Batwing, Batplane, is in the same issue, thanks to Gardner Fox. So, thank you, Gardner.
Incredible.
And this is Batman facing off against the vampire,
things.
the Mad Monk.
Batarangs fly and the plane flies, basically.
That's true, too.
The guy had it on the brain.
Yeah, and it made the most sense in this story because he had to he literally had to travel to Transylvania to take down a vampire. So that's kind of how things started. But the next time we would see it, it would be called the Batplane. Gone would be the propellers. We would have sort of more of a bat, head in the front, as you can see here.
This is the very next issue, or how? What's a
few issues later? So this is Batman number 1 in 1940. It's called the Batplane, and he's once again fighting monsters. He's fighting Hugo Strange's Monster Men. So something about the Batwing and monsters is kind of an association, which I guess does come to life in one of our versions of the Batwing in live action, but it's the Batplane in Batman number 1, and it also has something that's not on vehicles, not on a lot of Batman vehicles we associate now, and that's a huge-ass machine gun that he uses to mow down the monsters that we can see in this shot. That's kind of been replicated in the other times that most of the time the Batwing has shown up, with Keaton mowing down the Joker thugs, or Bale shooting at Talia and her driver, or Affleck shooting down all of Lex Luthor's guys. This has been an image. This might be the most replicated image in the 1939 comics. So
this is before his gun rule anyway, right? He was like literally packing heat at this time.
It's almost like he had it, but then he just immediately takes it away, because here he acknowledges it, being like, much as I hate to take human life, I'm afraid this time it's necessary. And then it's in the front. So
I must kill.
He's like, I made the oath, but I'm just gonna break it immediately, because we got monsters up in here, and I'm not gonna fuck around with this.
The oath was more of a guideline than a rule, It was an oath to myself. It wasn't an oath to anybody else.
1939 Batman.
Who's else?
Criminals don't need to know.
The only other people they're gonna care are they're dead.
So yeah, this is the history of the Batplane. It would eventually evolve further and further in the comics, but this is the original version. So let's jump forward in history then. Let's go into the live action versions in reverse chronological order. So let's start with the Batwing in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. This one is kind of a mix of it's slightly bat-like, but it's mostly kind of like a stealth jet. Mainly used by Batman against Lex Luthor's thugs right before the warehouse fight. And it's also used when he's flying back from the warehouse fight, and encounters Doomsday. It's during this fight that it ends up crashing, because Doomsday uses his heat vision to take him out, and he ends up crash landing in the Batwing. However, it seems to have been rebuilt depending on which continuity you want to go with. In the Justice League theatrical cut, you see a quick cameo of the Batwing, now nice and new, as if Bruce repaired it, showing up as Ben Affleck looks at the bat signal at the very end. So that's in it. But we don't get a lot with this Batwing. I mean, in general, we don't get a lot with the Batwing, let's be honest, with the live action versions. But this is the latest version before The Flash from Zack Snyder, and he had his own take on it that we have here. So I think it's a nice mix of the realism with the stealth jet with a little bit of the allusions to the bat type shape. So let's go into verdicts. So what do we think of this version of the Batwing? Do you want to start? Do you want me to start?
You start.
All right. So this one, it's a nice, as I said before, it's a nice mix of the realistic aesthetic and the main Batwing, but I just wish it was more bat-like. Like if you didn't tell me this was, Batman's thing, it would just kind of look like a cool stealth jet. So like, it's just okay to me. It's cool enough. I think it was an upgrade compared to what we had previously, but it's still like, it serves its purpose. To me, it's like a B-, C+. How do you feel?
So generous, bro. So generous.
Oh, really? You hate it?
I don't like it at all.
I didn't know that. To me, it's just okay. I didn't know you hated it.
It's an E, almost to it-log territory.
Oh my God.
For me. I don't.
So why is that?
It just doesn't look like a fucking bat. That's it. It doesn't. I don't look. Snyder, man. If you ever watch this, dude, I'm just a jackass on the internet, and you're Snyder. So my opinion doesn't matter. Let me just get that out of the way. Mm-hmm. But it's just the design choices, man. And look, your bat suit was incredible. I'm talking to Snyder right now. Your bat suit was incredible. Your design choices there were fucking top notch. Mm-hmm. Your vehicles, though, bro, this is just me. I don't like your choice in vehicles, like, at all. So it looks like you wanted to make a B-2 bomber, kind of, with, and it's got like, can you pull the image back up again?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
It's got like a what you call it, like a foil or something. Like it's got. I don't like how it's like broken up and there's like airy bits in between, and it's like completely. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's like air in between it, like
between where Batman sits in the cockpit and like the other wings.
Yeah, and maybe that makes it lighter. There's probably some sort of design. I figured it makes it lighter. But, dude, who's buying this toy? Not many. I feel
that's true. We don't have this toy.
Is it true? There's no toy of this?
No. I'm saying you and I don't personally own a toy of this. I'm sure there is a toy, but we don't have it.
It's just like, and this wasn't as dark as the Matt Reeves one would become. If Matt Reeves ones don't have as many toys, I kind of get it because it's damn near rated R. Mm-hmm. But like this has definitely got like could be a little bit more toyetic. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Freakazoid, by the way, for that for teaching a generation of us elder millennials what toyetic was in that episode. But yeah, dude, it's just not for me, man. I do not like it at all.
Yeah. All right. Maybe I'm also being generous compared to what we previously got right beforehand. So that could be a factor too. But I was happier with this one than the previous one.
The Bat Spider or whatever that was, all those vehicles, dude.
We're about to go into it. Yeah.
His vehicle that was in that one shot that was like the Bat Tank from Batman Returns. I think that was like the one I liked the most from Snyder's vehicle set.
Oh yeah, from the Snyder Cut.
From the Snyder Cut,
because that's literally the Frank Miller vehicle brought to life.
And I'm like, that looks all right to me. That looks like a fucking tank. It looks like a humongous tank, but it looks fine to me. Like this Batwing. That's all dude. I don't know how to better express it.
I gave it a C+. You gave it an E, so I think it's going into the D zone.
Okay.
Which is I didn't expect us to go off on this foot. So this is a shock to me.
I'm pretty passionate about the Batwings, I think.
Okay. This is a good topic, then.
I'm putting like I'm not a pilot and I'm not trying to be, but I do think planes look cool.
Yeah.
More than cars, I think, personally.
Mm-hmm.
And there is an aviation aspect I'm putting into Amano Recon as well. You know, like I do kind of like that world. So maybe that's why I'm extra passionate about this.
No worries. I'm glad.
I've got some flight sims. I have flight sims on my computer on Oculus Rift too. Like I've taken off in a Cessna in Oculus and shit. So,
therefore, Andrew's the authority on this.
I'm no authority. I'm just saying it makes me. I might have some passion for this kind of thing.
You're more passionate for planes than I am. I think I'm just more like, does it look like a bat? Close enough. That's about it.
That's me too, though. I want it to look like a bat.
I think yours is more wanting more bat-like stuff, which I understand. You know, this is again obviously not my favorite because I gave it like a C+. You know, my highest was like a B-. I'm like, it works enough.
Perfection. We had perfection so early on.
Yes, we did.
We had, and then just a fall from grace every time since then. Every time.
Oh man. All right. Well, I'm glad that we're doing this episode.
Yeah.
So let's go on to the next one, if we dare. The Bat from The Dark Knight Rises. Before BVS, we got the Bat from The Dark Knight Rises. I think it's pretty obvious what our feelings are on this one, but let's go into it anyway. Some would say this is arguably a version of the Batcopter because he does have propeller-type things inside one of the claw things that are in the Bat, but for the sake of this episode, we're going to include it as a form of the Batwing. It was created by Lucius Fox during Bruce Wayne's retirement as Batman, I guess just in case he ever came back, and ends up being used by Batman when he returns from retirement the first and second time in this movie, both when he returns just the years-long retirement and when he returns back from imprisonment from Bane. So, like with Affleck's, they tried to inject a realism aesthetic to it. It's also fitted with a ton of machine guns that he uses to take out Talia and her driver in the finale before it is destroyed by getting blown up by the nuke at the end. You'll notice that there's going to be a trend when it comes to these Batwings. The last one that we covered was destroyed by Doomsday. This one gets taken out by a nuke. The Bat does kind of get to show off some of Bale Batman's intelligence because it's revealed that he was the one who cracked how the autopilot worked, which is key to allowing him to survive this nuclear explosion and presumably eject right before it happens. So we got the Bat. I think we know where the goose egg is going, though, on this one. Jesus Christ. I hated this thing since I first saw it in set photos. I'm like, it can't look like that. Really? It's a fucking crab. It's a flying crab. Let's be honest. It doesn't, like, you think the last one didn't look bat-like? This doesn't look bat-like at all. I was like, what the fuck are we thinking with this? I mean, I get that. Like, out of the vehicles, I think the Bat Pod was probably the best design of that because it at least resembled a motorcycle. But this one, it doesn't resemble a bat. I don't really know. I don't really get this feeling of like, well, it's, it's practical. I'm like, it's practical doesn't mean it has to be ass ugly. Like it can be practical and still look good. Especially because, again, like, he's Batman. Shouldn't his vehicles also reflect, like, the symbol of Batman? Especially because the symbol of Batman is what the Dark Knight trilogy is about. Like, shouldn't that carry over into the vehicles in the same way? Like, it's not like it clashes thematically with what's going on. It actually fits very perfectly in what's going on if the Bat looks like a bat. Especially because it's called the Bat. So you would think it would resemble a bat. But it doesn't. So it gets the goose egg from me.
Yeah, dude, this was not good either, man. What can I say? There's a part of me that's gotten used to it because it's Nolan. It's associated with Nolan, but also we were set up to kind of know what to expect a little bit because we saw the Tumblr for 2 movies. So when that came out, I don't think I hated it as much as you did. Did I like it? No. I didn't at all. Like, Nolan really wanted, like, everything to have such a tether to reality. Like, the Skyhook thing was
real.
Was real, right? Something real about it, at least. And it's just like the vehicle suffered for that, I think. It's bad, but in a different way. God, dude, it's actually kind of tough. Like, which one's worse?
I think this is way worse. At least the other one is the Snyder direction is what I thought Nolan could go into when I found out, like, the Batwing could be in The Dark Knight Rises. I'm like, okay, cool. I imagine it's going to be some mix of like a stealth jet and, a bat type of thing, which is kind of what Snyder ended up doing. But I don't know what the fuck this is.
It looks like a flying tumbler. There's some sort of, design through line there, I think. Like, it's big, boxy, bulky, and not sleek at all. So there's that. Yeah, like, I don't like it either, man. Is it goose egg? It might. Dude, I might. Yeah, I kind of want to give them both goose eggs now. If I'm being honest. Okay, we'll give this one. We'll give this one goose egg too. We'll give this one goose egg.
Somebody must get the goose egg. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll give this one the goose egg. But man, there is something about those like open areas in the Zack Snyder one that I fucking can't stand for some reason. It looks too flimsy.
I had no idea.
It's sleek.
No
it's
wonder
sleeker.
It gets taken out by Doomsday. Yeah, it is.
It's sleeker for sure, so I give it that. It's like kind of getting there to be in more comic booky and shit, but yeah, I don't. Dude, yeah, I don't. We go goose egg for this one, but I hate them both.
Again, great start for this episode on the Batwings.
They suck, dude. And look, Nolan's Nolan. Snyder, I think, has a chance of maybe listening to this eventually if he's bored enough. But Nolan's never listening to this shit.
Nolan's moved on. Like, there's no way he's listening to this. He's moved on completely from that world.
Nolan's like, what's the internet? I'm shooting on film right now.
I don't even have a cell phone.
I'm Nolan.
Yeah, I just, again, like, I was expecting something similar to what Snyder ended up with The Dark Knight Rises. But instead, we got a flying crab. And I'm like, okay, Jesus Christ.
That crab thing, though, the bat spider is the worst than all these, though. I know it's not a Batwing. That thing's fucking terrible, dude.
You mean the Nightcrawler thing in the
Nightcrawler? Yeah, I hate that thing.
We're not ranking that one this time. I don't think
there's only one bat spider. There's nothing else to rank, so
it's goose egg
for that one.
It was created just for the thing. I guess it could be a Batmobile, but we didn't count it in the ranking Batmobiles.
No,
that episode was long enough as it was. Okay.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So anyway, we are halfway through the Batwings. It's only going to go up from here. So we'll take a look at the 90s Batwings after the break.
It's time for May announcements, everyone.
Indeed, and we have some news. We're gonna be in a movie. Yes, a movie, short film actually,
Hollywood,
done by our Patreon.
baby.
Yeah, we are going Hollywood. So yes, we're in a movie. It's a short film done by our Patreon patron and longtime supporter Jeffrey Scott Richards. Jeffrey put us in his documentary called All Right Forever, where we talked about our COVID experiences. You can check that out when you can. But now he's doing something different. Now he's doing a scripted short film, and we're in it. And it's called Derrick Magnum. So, the log line is, I'm reading off from his Indiegogo, Derrick Magnum is one of the leading directors and creative forces in the superhero genre today. When his wife posthumously publishes a tell-all book about his years of misconduct towards her, he loses everything. Now, years later, he tries to find redemption in the eyes of his 21-year-old son. So, in this short film, Andrew and I will play ourselves, hosting superhero stuff you should know and discussing Derrick Magnum. We're excited, but Jeffrey could use your help on the production with festival and marketing costs, feeding the main actors, not us, we're good, but the main actors involved, like the guy who's actually playing Derrick Magnum, and paying the composer for us. So head on over to indiegogo.com/project/Derrick, that's DERRICK, -magnum-a-short-film-by-Richard Scott J, hashtag.
So
that's a long one.
The link is
click the link in the damn description.
The link is on the description, and then it's also, we got a visual of it here on the visual for the podcast on the YouTube. So check it out there. So I obviously have experience with Indiegogo. I'm in a recon and et cetera, and support the arts, y'all. This is how you do it. Support a fellow fan of all the stuff that we're a fan of, and let's get this film off the ground. We needs to pay his crew and all that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Again, it goes to the crew. It goes to helping out festival costs and stuff. Like we are just in it. Like, this money does not go to us. This is to help Jeffrey. So anything that you can, over to the Indiegogo link that I will not repeat. Just click the damn link in the description, and it'll take you there. So, thank you, everyone. In terms of other projects, just wanted to say thanks again to everyone who supported my first published fiction, Shortcut to Happily Ever After, which was a short story novella published in Metaphorosis magazine in April. It's available to read on the Metaphorosis website, as well as on Kindle and Paperback if you choose to get your own copies and support the magazine. A podcast audio version is available, read by podcast host Matt Gomez, which you can check out on YouTube. And thanks again to those who have heard it on YouTube, because thanks to you and the supporters who've commented, that's Leander Nicholson and Jacob Patrick. Those of you who have heard it, thanks to you, it is the #1 video on the Metaphorosis podcast channel on YouTube.
#1, y'all.
Thanks again for that. So,
Woo!
And basically, that is it for my own stuff, but we have a May charity drive. Again, we do like to keep these charities related to the people we've covered on the show, and this one is no exception. Peter David is a writer we've brought up on this podcast a few times. We covered his novelization for Batman Forever. We'll likely cover his others at a certain point. And yes, we got to acknowledge, we have joked. He's friend of the podcast, Peter David, since he was not so friendly to Andrew over Twitter years ago. But again, we are a superhero podcast, and superheroes believe in compassion. We wouldn't be following in the footsteps of superheroes if we let that get in the way of asking you to help him out. Peter David has been undergoing kidney failure, as well as a series of strokes and a heart attack, according to this post on the GoFundMe. Yeah, it sounds pretty rough, and so they're asking his fans for support. So please give that over to GoFundMe.com/F/Peter-David-Fund and help someone out who was part of your childhood. He was definitely a big part of mine and part of a part of the show in some way, with the novelizations that he's written that we're bound to cover even more of at some point on this. So that is the May charity drive that we're doing for this one.
Yeah,
and,
you
go ahead.
said those comments before back in the day. It was just it's funny we're even going over this, but it was just for fun. It was probably even was just a little Twitter thing, and it was like he might have even just had a bad day that day or something. It wasn't that big of a deal. I just wanted to make some jokes about it for the sake of the podcast.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to make it sound like it was a big deal before we hate him or anything. Like, we were just joking,
we obviously don't. We obviously don't. I'm just trying to, just clear the air on that. We're trying to help him out. So there you go. Give him the old superhero stuff you should know bump.
Yep.
So whatever that is. Check it out. His GoFundMe will be linked in the description. And if you could throw him some shekels, that would be great. He had major runs. He had really good like the novelizations, right? He did
Novelizations. The Aquaman one, obviously, that you had talked to him about.
Yeah,
and
it was like Game of Thrones type of story. It was like it was about Atlantis, and it was a pre-Aquaman thing. It was like to set up the Aquaman lore a little bit, and it was like Game of Thrones in Atlantis, and it was a pretty cool run. And he also co-created Spider-Man 2099. And so how much money has Marvel made off of that? It's showing up in that. So it's just like, a lot of big hitters there. Not that he needs that for money for a GoFundMe, but just to show you he's been a part of people's lives, So if you guys could, you could probably, the lowest amount is probably $1, right? If you could just even give $1, that'd be great. And I
if
guess
all of our YouTube subscribers donated $1, that'd be $3,000 for them.
$3,000,
over
yeah.
3,000, yeah.
Over 3,000. So please do what you can, guys. Yeah.
All right, and that is it for the May announcements. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Just wanted to announce that I have a new podcast called Gaming Gaiden. It's about Japanese to English translation. In this first season, it will be 10 episodes each season. If you saw the ranking, every Superman video game two-parter we did here on Superhero Stuff You Should Know, you have seen Mike before. So yes, if you like video games, if you've been interested in Japanese ever, we're going to be talking a lot about just Japan in general, Japanese cultural differences as well, and we also are going to have a lot of talk about 90s video game magazines such as Electronic Gaming Monthly, aka EGM. So stay tuned for Gaming Gaiden podcast. It's already out now, y'all. I wanted to tell you about the Patreon.com. Patreon.com/SuperheroStuffPod, and on that you get the $1 tier. You can join the $1 tier, which gets you the shout out on the board, and either visually or orally, or both at times. We want to do the oral for the most part for newer people. And then the $5 tier gets you a whole new show. This show is every Monday, as you well know, and it's free on YouTube and the What's Nots. And the Patreon show is every Friday at the $5 tier mark. You can, if you want, binge us for $5, and there's like 150 episodes, almost 150 at this point, and you can listen to all that content there. Even the stuff that's been released from the vault, none of that has been the full episode as well. So trying to keep our $5 tier people happy. But yeah, check that out. And then our $10 tier gets you all of the above, plus it gets you a monthly meetup show where you meet up with us monthly, and it's like a Zoom-like call, and we have a topic at hand, or sometimes videos we react to and things like that. And that's at the $10 tier. Every tier that you get, like the $5 tier gets you the $1 tier benefits, and the $10 tier gets you the $5 tier benefits and the $1 tier benefits. So check that out at patreon.com/superherostuffpod. We also got the merch, which is Redbubble, superhousepod.redbubble.com, and on Threadless, superherostuffpod.threadless.com. Get your Bin Man and Indeed Wizard mug, shirt, shower curtains, and all the rest artwork by Stephen Santa Cruz. And please send us some audio at superhousepodcast@gmail.com. A bumper would be great. You too can be part of the show. I'm ThunderWolfDrew on Instagram and Twitter. ThunderWolf lives as my other YouTube channel, one of my many YouTube channels. And I have also ThunderWolfDrew.com has my whole portfolio in one place, except for AmanoRecon.com. That's AMANORECON.com. And that is an original idea that some friends and I are doing, where it is R-rated Power Rangers meets Stranger Things. That's the quick pitch, and it is not a fan film, original idea. We have a pitch video right now on YouTube and on the Indiegogo page. We're campaigning right now as of this, when this episode premieres. And this poster art is by Zachary Jackson Brown Art. superherostuffpod.com. And check it out. Please support us on the campaign, and more from that soon. But yes, it's bloody, and if you like that kind of thing, check us out. And that's it, Ben.
Follow us on social media, on Twitter at SuperHousePod, Instagram SuperHeroStuffPod, where we have some different supplemental stuff. I've even analyzed the martial arts stance that the Keaton ornament from The Flash is in, so you can check that out on our Instagram, SuperHeroStuffPod. TikTok, SuperHeroStuffPod, Vero, SuperHeroStuffPod. My website is benwanwriter.com, where you can read a whole bunch of spec scripts, including Gotham, Vampire, Elementary, The Death of Sherlock Holmes, and Curb Your Enthusiasm, Disneyland. If you're fans of any of those shows, check them out and let us know what you think. My YouTube channel is in the description below, including Doctor Who, The Ronin of Time, an audio drama I write, edit, and narrate with the 8th Doctor, meaning Miyamoto Musashi. My personal Instagram is benwanwriter. If you like cats, my son, Alfie, my cat, is at Alfie Pennyworth Cat. And if you have an Alfie yourself, then you can get the Whisker Box, the only cat box with a crazy cat lady and gent. And you can even check out another page on that website, superherostuffpod.com/show notes. That includes various show notes for each of our episodes, links to the scripts that we review if they're available online, Amazon links to the stuff we've been talking about, including, Brian Levant's book that he plugged for us, My Life and Toys. So check that out at superherostuffpod.com/show notes.
Lord have mercy, y'all. Do you like hounds? Do you enjoy pooches? Do you find yourself enjoying time spent with that of canines? Talking about dogs, y'all.
As you might have heard, Superhero Stuff You Should Know has now teamed up with BarkBox. For every month, you get a box for your special canine.
Pooches.
Or hounds.
That's right. One free extra month if you go to barkbox.com/superherostuffpod.
Follow the link and you'll get a free extra month valued at $35 and valid for all multi-length plans.
So get the BarkBox for your hound, for your pooch, for your canine.
Your doggo will thank you.
Cruising down the street in my 6'4".
And we're back, and we're going to cover all the other Batwings, the other 90s ones, that is, before we cover the upcoming one in The Flash. But yeah, we're at a rough start. We got the Snyder one at a D, and we got the It log given to the Dark Knight Rises Bat, though if Andrew had his way, they would both get the goose egg. He fucking hates them both. So we'll see what he thinks of these coming up.
It should be so much easier. Like, they overthought it. It's just like, stop overthinking it, dude.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. Batman Forever is the next one. So this one looks the most bat-like so far of the ones that we've covered. This is used in the final assault on Claw Island as Batman heads over there. And it manages to avoid, bombs that are taking out the Batboat below, but it does end up getting hit by the Riddler's weapon. So once again, the Batwing gets destroyed in live action. One fun fact to share is that the Batwing was originally going to be intact. It was going to dive underwater and turn into a bat sub in the original Lee and Janet Batchelor draft for Batman Forever that was covered before. So it would change into a bat sub, and Batman would come out to rescue Robin from Two-Face and Riddler's men. And that's kind of one where you can read and fantasize that deep dive Batman shows up from the sub just temporarily to save Robin. So yeah, there was going to be an image where he shows up. He puts his hand on the shoulder of a henchman who's about to beat up Robin, and he turns him around, and the henchman just sees Batman with the cape billowing out like a fucking manta ray type of thing as he punches right into the camera, was the image. Sadly, we did not get that in the final movie, but that's what it could have been, a Batwing / bat sub if the Bachelors had their way in that script, but didn't end up happening. But let's talk about this Batwing. So, again, this is the most Batwing. This is most Bat-like so far. I would rank this higher than the others, but not at an S tier or an A tier. Maybe it's just because there's so many bright lights on it that kind of take it away. It does fit the sonar suit Batman, but I feel like it's better than what came afterwards, but not nearly as good as what came before. So, for me, it's a B-. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, it's a straight B. It's good. I don't have... Yeah, the negativity is gone. It's left my body at this point. This is...
It looks more Bat-like, though. So that's
It's sleek. It's good. It looks like 89, but a little different. It looks like a toy you'd buy. I'm pretty sure, if I can remember correctly, when I was a kid, even then I was like, this is all right, but it's not as good as the last one.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how I was probably feeling. If I remember correctly, like once it got past returns, I was just like, not about those toys, dude. Like we probably covered that in the Kenner deep dive. It just the design aesthetic just left me, dude. It just wasn't my thing anymore. Like overall, in
part
general.
of it is also we were getting older too.
We're getting older, but it just got so much more complex. Like, and then it would eventually culminate into Transformers from Michael Bay, which is the most complex, idiotic shit you can imagine. Batman never got that bad, but
no,
I digress.
We give it a B, so it's in the B rank. B. It's still better than the others.
Isn't that fair?
Andrew doesn't hate this one, and it looks the most Bat-like so far.
It hanging like that is cool.
That too. Yeah, that was a cool thing.
Wasn't as like showcased as 89 one was, but yes, it was. Yeah, it's fine. It's good.
Yep,
no problem.
So let's talk about the King. Let's talk about the 89.
Easiest decision I've ever made in my life.
I think we know where this is gonna go. So, trivia fact. The term Batwing does not come originally from the comics, as far as I know. I believe it comes from Batman 89. So this is you can call this the original Batwing, not just because it's the first Batwing in, movie history, but it's the first one to literally be called Batwing. So the Batwing is used in the parade sequence against the Joker to take away the poisonous balloons, as well as, shoot a ton of bullets on the Joker and his men and explosives on them. At one point, the Batwing needs the momentum to come back towards Gotham City, so it goes up against the moon in this badass visual that is iconic from this movie, and also very much resembling the original Detective Comics number 31 from years ago, where they would illustrate it as being right up against the moon. So,
what was the end story reason for going up so high like that? Just to get the balloons out there?
He goes to get the balloons up there, and then he goes up to build up momentum to basically speed back down towards the city.
Okay, but has he already left? He lets the balloons go at this altitude?
He lets it go before this part.
Okay, yeah, because you don't want that. I look, I love this visual, and usually I'm not the guy that thinks super practically about this stuff, but I remember even when I was a kid, I was like, that's cool, but why? But like,
because it looks fucking cool.
They want this visual so bad.
Yeah.
Like I get it, and I wouldn't take it out of the movie either. Like it's so cool, but there's a part of my brain that is not normally too active. That's about like the practicality of it, and it is kind of activated here a little bit. But I do like it overall, and I mean it's the best showcase for the Batwing ever. There's with the balloons and like it's actually doing stuff. It feels like it's so part of the the set piece that like the other ones I don't know, they just never really got that. They're
this
just
one
kind of
feels like its own character.
They're so miscellaneous in the other ones, where this is just really showcased really well. Like they do it with the Batmobiles well all the time. Like Reeves's was good, and that first one in Batman Begins was good. Really good showcases. But the Batwing, man, they just have not gotten anywhere near this movie. And not on top of that, showcase aside, design wise too, it looks like the actual fucking bat symbol itself. It's toyetic as fuck. I had this toy. I was trying to find the fucking picture of me opening this up on Christmas Day today, but I sadly could not find it. I'm like 5. I think in my underwear, but opening up Christmas presents, and it's there. So I had this, and I did bring this to school too.
Oh,
and
amazing.
Only for like a day or two. I brought it like 2 days in a row, and then I remember thinking, like, oh, this toy is like kind of too big to bring. Like it was like, and especially in a 5-year-old, 6-year-old's hand, it was like everybody else, if they brought anything, it was just like one action figure, so you could just kind of hide it, or you could So I remember it being kind of unwieldy, but yeah, I was super into this toy, man, and just everything. It's like it's like Burton's design aesthetic, for the Batmobile too. He just kind of nails the vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's kids out there that saw the Snyder stuff when they're like 6 and they're like, that's their shit, but it's just so overthought. I think like this is really like the sweet spot. It's like realistic enough and fun enough and toyetic enough.
Yeah, for sure. Keeps it simple.
Yes.
This Batwing is taken out by the Joker's long-ass gun containing an explosive shell, though, as we've covered before in the original Sam Hamm draft, it was going to be Joker in a tank that takes out the Batwing, which is kind of simultaneously something that makes a lot more sense, while also something that's a lot more boring and less Joker-like. So I'm a little mixed on that. I think we ended up with the most Joker-like take on this.
If it was a purple and green, really toyetic-looking tank.
Yeah, that too.
Dude, I kind of wouldn't mind that either, because that's like it's like tank versus plane. That's just such a toy thing. Also,
that would have been cool,
though. The black Batwing and then this green purple tank, like I could totally see that. I can totally see that. But and maybe it takes out like the side of a building, so you can kind of see the firepower before it shoots the Batwing. Or something. I don't know what they could have done, but that would have been kind of cool too. It would have been kind of zanier, even zanier than it already was. But Yeah.
But every single Batwing has been destroyed on film, as we see.
That's so weird, right?
It is. Yeah, I didn't really notice that until I had Dan gather these. I'm just like, wait a minute. So gather the time. This Batwing gets destroyed. This one gets destroyed. Like all of them get blown up at some point. The only one that kind of gets resurrected is the Affleck one, if you're going by the theatrical cut. So
there might be a reason like they don't. It's if they're going to pull out the Batwing, it's going to be in a huge action set piece, right? And probably in the third act. So maybe it's just always going to be a casualty of the third act, I suppose. And like, but there's I guess there's never like bringing Vicky Vale back to the Batcave via the Batwing. Mm-hmm. That way bringing people back via the plane as opposed to the car. So maybe they could do that in the future. I don't know, but it's just I could see why that pattern exists.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's pretty obvious what we're ranking this.
S.
Yep. So.
That's not an S. That's like the easiest S you could fucking imagine.
Just like the Batmobile was the easy S too when we did
this is even easier, I feel like.
Yeah, this is even easier because like at least the Batmobile, like it's got some pretty decent competition with the 66 Batmobile is still good, the Reeves Batmobile is still good. Yeah. But this one I'm just like, it's never topped. It's never been topped, and I don't think it's ever going to be topped.
Are we not doing the Adam West
replicate it?
We're not doing the Adam West Bat copter because it's a copter, right?
It's a copter. Yeah, it's a copter. But we could do it for the Patreon preview.
Okay. Well, just rank the one. Oh, we just add it to this thing?
Yeah, we just add it to this.
Okay. Okay, got it.
Yeah, so I think that might be the most fair that way. It's not like we're stretching it out just so that we include stuff that's not really... I mean, I guess it's still like bat flying vehicles would be the name of the episode.
It's not a plane, though.
The Flying Fox. Yeah, it's not a plane. I also did include the Flying Fox from Justice League because that's not really the Batwing. That's more like the Justice League's jet. Okay. But we could add that into the mini Patreon preview type of thing. So, but it's still not going to beat this. Let's be honest. This is still the top. So,
like what with the tumbler, I didn't like the design, but it had a really cool showcase.
Yeah, it did.
Right,
sure.
So it's like you can kind of like let it slide a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
With the other ones, their design sucks and they have no showcase. It's just really just fucking sucks all around. And look, I hate
decisions.
Part of me hates being super critical to this shit because these guys work so hard on this
I
shit.
know.
And it's like they're. Again, we're jackasses on the internet, so I just have to disclaim that over and over. But just personal opinion as a moviegoer, as a person that has some, not better or worse taste, just has taste in design to a certain degree. It's just not for me. Some of them, So, you know, there it is.
Yep, I hear you. All right, well, we've ranked all of them in the movies that have been released, but let's talk about the upcoming one.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot about that.
Keaton has rebuilt the Batwing, and it's a little different. We see it a few times in the trailer, and in a recent one, we see that it actually does kind of replicate the silhouette against the moon, but in a different way. So this might be more practical, story-wise, depending on the context in the movie. But it looks like we get the shot because we're at that angle, because Batman is jumping out of the plane, as opposed to it.
I'm a big dum-dum. I didn't even notice this, bro. And like doing the moon thing. I was so focused on Supergirl. That's Supergirl, right?
Oh, this is Batman.
It was Batman jumping out of it. I was focused on the person jumping out of it, at least. I didn't even notice the fucking plane and the goddamn moon.
It's cool, isn't it? Like, it kind of replicates it, but like in a way that doesn't make you think like, you're just doing it because it's cool. Like we were saying about
this actually, there's some, you know, it's probably not going to be as iconic as what Burton did, but you know what?
Right.
Good on you. This is good too. This is good.
Yeah. So, props to Muschietti for doing this, but you can kind of see a little bit more of the differences when our Patreon patron and fan Logan Wood replaced the '89 Batwing with the one from the Flash over the moon here. So you can kind of see the differences. It's a lot different in shape. It doesn't have the like circular curved wings at all. It has a little bit more like smaller little ones at the end, at the bottom of it. And I imagine the cockpit, the scallops. I imagine the cockpit is bigger because we saw in the trailer that both Barrys are in the back, as opposed to the '89 Batwing where it looked like all it could fit was just him. So clearly, at some point, he thought to put in room for people in the back. Maybe it's because he had a Robin at some point. But as far as we know, it's there for the flashes. And we get to see it in the trailers, and it's pretty cool that they copy this aesthetic. And so, based off what we've seen, you know, some may think it's premature for us to rank this one before the movie's out, but look, designs are designs. A movie rarely makes me change my mind on what I think about the design itself. Because the design doesn't really change between when I see it in a picture and when I see it in the movie. Maybe I have a different opinion on how it works, but like the design itself, I usually don't have an opinion. Like when we ranked the Batmobiles, we didn't really change our opinion about ranking our, you know, the Reeves Batmobile after we saw it. It was pretty much the same.
I mean, we talked about showcases a little bit. There might be a little bit of an asterisk on this rating. Maybe we could say that, you know, but we all know that at the time of this recording, the Flash movie is not out just yet. So we don't know, but we're going to do it just on design alone for this one. Which I think is fine. So I don't have a problem with that. Yeah. So for me, it doesn't match the S tier Batwing, but it's still good and better than everything else that came in between '89 and this. Like you've still got the black bat aesthetic. You've still got something that resembles a bat. You've still got something that doesn't look like they went too realistic on it. So for me, it's an A. It's not an S tier, but it's an A. Let's go back to the other shot real quick. If you don't mind.
The one that's actually in the movie? Yeah.
Or the one where you can actually see
the Supergirl one.
Yeah. So this is our only shot of it so far. I think there actually are toy leaks of this.
There are toy leaks. That's how Logan got this.
Okay, yeah.
Photo.
So
you can see the design, just maybe not that much in the trailers.
I give this an A too. This is cool. This is a good update. I mean, I'm struggling to find anything Muschietti has done wrong so far with this movie. We haven't seen it yet, but I mean, as a lot of our fans, a lot of our listeners are kind of feeling at this point, and the buzz about this movie is kind of insane at the moment. But I mean, you know, it's really good. This is how you fucking do it. You can't do the exact fucking same thing. You know, you're already leaning into member berries already enough with Keaton there. But you can't have a guy that's never updated his shit in fucking 30 years. He's Batman. He's got to fucking update. He's got to update with the technology. So it looks like it's like a F-14 Tomcat or something, or like some new kind of fighter jet technology mixed in with the Batplane, with the Batwing. And you know, I would get this toy. That's the biggest fucking compliment you can say about this shit. I probably will get some toy of this. So there it is. It's a fucking good Batjet. Sure, why not? A Batwing. It's like it might even be A+ for me. This is good. Sleek, solid.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with this one.
Yep. I like it too. I still prefer the 89 one, but I'm like, look, this is still better than everything else in between. This is way better than what we got in the Nolan and Snyder days, where it's just like, you even see a little bit of like realistic jet stuff from this shot. But like you said, like it makes sense that there would be upgrades, as well as the fact that the last one got blown up by the Joker anyway. So it's not like he would be able to salvage a lot of that. He needed to rebuild it anyway. And he's been around as Batman for God knows how long in the continuity that we're going.
It's a fun,
it makes sense.
Fun looking Bat design. I don't know. To me, it's just, I don't know. It's just people have different design choices, obviously. So, but it's just some of the stuff is just so obvious for me. Like it's just my design, my preferences for what I like. Or I don't know how to say it. But yeah, A+.
We're pretty much on the same page on this one. So here we have our ranking, and it's weird that we only have one per thing, because we're used to having so many different options, and like the Batmobiles and the Bat Caves and the Gotham cities, that some of them like take up whole lines. But here it's just one per each one. So from the bottom to the top, the goose egg, the it-log, the worst one that we ranked is the Bat from The Dark Knight Rises. Then up above it is the Batwing from the Snyder films, given a D. Then the Batwing from Batman Forever, given a B. Then the Flash Batwing that is coming up in the 2023 June release is given an A. And then, of course, the 89 Batwing, the king of all of them, probably will never be topped, gets an S from us.
There's just,
like, the only way to top it is just do the same thing.
there might be. It might be showcased very well, and we might give this an S- after it comes out, just so it can be. But still, the Burton one was going to be at the top still probably. But the other one could become even closer. It could edge ever so closer to the other one. We'll see. And the flying action that they're going to have probably with Supergirl and the Batwing, maybe there'll be some team up flying action or something. It looks like that's going either from or to an action scene in that trailer. So I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I'm so excited about that movie, man.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great. I love it.
Well, here we have our Batwing rankings. Let us know what you agree or disagree with. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of angry fans of the Snyder Batwing or the Bat in the comments, but you can comment. It'll help our algorithm. We just might not comment back.
If you've joined us just for this episode and you think we hate Snyder, may I point you to a good 6 months where we pretty much sucked his dick for what was that, 2021, the first part of that year? 2020?
Yeah, 2021, because we were leading up to the Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah, so we like Snyder on this podcast. It's just, like we've said, that some of the design choices just aren't for us. But overall, we really like the guy.
Yeah. Similar thing with Nolan. Like we've kind of
Nolan's. Nolan too.
Because the designs weren't really the strength of those movies. Like I've shot on the Batsuit, this Batwing, but like still, I'm not gonna knock what the guy did for the whole genre.
Oh,
so
yeah. I mean, God.
Purely about whatever the topic is.
Yeah, definitely.
But until then, that is superhero stuff you should know. Big thanks to Dan for gathering the visuals for the YouTube experience. Let's go into some fan comments. So a lot of these come from our discussions on the Donner versus the Lester theatrical cut for Superman 2. So Christian Garcia, our resident expert on how many cuts there are on Superman movies, has left a comment on just how many cuts there are for every single Salkind-related Superman movie. So Christian Garcia says, yes, 3 cuts of the first film, 4 cuts of this one, Superman 2. Superman 3, there's 2 cuts. The theatrical cut and the TV version that aired on ABC with 19 minutes of extra footage. I don't know if I want to watch that one. And the Supergirl movie, there's 4 cuts. 4 cuts of Supergirl.
Of the Supergirl movie?
Yeah. The U.S.
I know it exists,
cut,
but...
Yeah. The U.S. theatrical cut, which I presume is the one that's on HBO Max. The international cut, the TV version that aired on ABC. Again, ABC gets these extended versions. And the director's cut. And then Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, there's 2 cuts. The U.S. theatrical cut and the international cut that added 3 more minutes of footage.
Have you seen the Supergirl movie?
I haven't yet. I was going to wait until
it's real bad
before this. Yeah, that too. That's also why I'm like, I'm not really... These are ones where I'm just like, we'll cover it at some point. We'll talk about it at some point, but I'm not in a hurry. So
that Woman of Tomorrow, man, that was a good comic.
It's got to be an upgrade.
Oh yeah, great
Sasha
art
Calle's
too, by the way.
Supergirl's got to be an upgrade too.
I love her suit too, man. She's cool. I love that. I love the short black hair also. Anyway, thanks for your comment.
Yeah,
so easy for me to go on a fucking tangent.
Yeah, that's not a knock, by the way, on Helen Slater when I mean upgrade. I meant upgrade in terms of quality of the movie. Helen Slater seems like she's great. She's been in a lot of Superman-related stuff over the years. She's even criticized the Supergirl movie that she's in. So, nothing. We never really blame the actors here.
No,
right,
not really.
X2 Magneto says, I always preferred the Donner cut, but both films have issues. I think we agree. The director's cuts are simpler, or the Donner cut's simpler in that it is a work print that was completed as best as possible 25 years after the fact. Lester's cut is aiming to get a solo director credit for Lester while still employing some Donner footage. The issue is that they are now trying to create a movie around what little Donner footage they are using, and the result is a movie that is badly paced, that loses a lot of its narrative propulsion in pursuit of producing as much footage for the final edit as possible. A good way to compare the cuts is actually by looking at how either director used the other's footage. Now, that's a good point. We didn't do that. Donner didn't film the fight in Metropolis, so he had no choice but to use Lester's stuff. Donner tightens the scene and doesn't hold on all the slapstick antics like the ice cream falling. And he treats the people like innocent casualties and distills the purpose of the scene. Superman cannot win a physical fight, and the confrontation is harming people in the city. The fight is over. That's an excellent point, X2 Magneto. Lester has Donner's final resolution at the fortress. Here he dilutes everything by adding an unnecessary confrontation with weird expression of superpowers and cellophane S-shields. The scene is about Superman outsmarting Zod and bringing closure to Zod's and Jor-El's rivalry. Instead, we get an elongated set piece that serves no function but to draw out screen time. He's got a point. Actually, Magneto's got a point.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for that. I think we agree with these. There's not really anything you said.
Yeah, these are good. No, nothing against these so far.
Thank you, X2 Magneto. And then Jeremy Harris commented, Donner cut for me all the way from it being a proper continuation of Superman to all of Jor-El's scenes being restored and making a lot of sense. Parentheses, like, when did Jor-El have time to have the recordings of his wife and the elders? I mean, maybe. To the Donner
when it says recording of his wife, wait. The recordings of his wives, what do you mean?
Like the recording of, like, he's referring to in the theatrical Lester cut where there's no footage of Jor-El. It's suddenly like footage of other people suddenly talking to Clark. So it's Lara talking to him, and it's the,
is it a recording like
one of the elders,
like a recording hologram thing? Is what it's talking about?
Yeah, the thing that's like talking to them. The one that talks to Clark.
So, like, this is the thing, man. It depends on how sci-fi they want to get with it. Because in Man of Steel, too, like, because we've gotten further in our technology and since the 70s and stuff, but they probably were thinking this way also in the 70s. But, like, Superman is part of sci-fi, right? It's probably based at least partially on John Carter of Mars, et cetera, et cetera. And, maybe their idea, the Salkinds, was like, it's just a recording. It's a holographic recording. But maybe this is a headcanon thing for me. But it's consciousness uploaded. So it's, you got to remember the Arthur C. Clarke phrase too. People always quote, like, sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So a lot of whatever kind of Kryptonian technology they have is pretty much like magic to us. So they have, like, whenever Zod says, and I'm arguing its merits with a ghost, in Man of Steel, I fucking love that line because it's his consciousness uploaded. the consciousness is the ghost he's referring to, which I love. So maybe I'm putting my Man of Steel brain into that, but I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just expanding the conversation, I guess, of that this comment brings up. Either it's a straight up just regular holographic recording, or it's consciousness uploaded. So
yeah, I see.
I don't know.
Consciousness uploaded like you do. Yeah, or there's like a sci-fi amount of it that could explain this. To me, it's less about like when did he have the time, and more of just like, okay, but like how come? Like, we know the behind the scenes reasons, but the in-universe reasons where like there's no Lara at all showing up in the fortress in the first movie, and then there's no Jor-El at all in the second one. So it's just like, okay, when in this programming does Lara show up versus Jor-El show up? Now we know the behind the scenes reasons, but the in-universe reasons aren't really explained, and nor was it explained how Clark gets his powers back in the theatrical cut. They could have even done some version of that with Lara. I guess it probably wouldn't have had the same like dialogue at all, because you can't have her quoting Jor-El. But
I just maybe. I guess personally as a movie watcher, obviously I need some things explained, but it's just one of those things. You do feel the lack of the presence of Marlon Brando, because it's fucking Marlon Brando,
right?
But at the same time, I don't know. I don't feel like I need. This falls into the Batmobile's tires thing with Grant Morrison. That quote again. Like I just don't. I don't personally need that explained for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Maybe some other things I need, maybe, but not that one, not that point in particular.
Yeah. Jeremy also brings up the Donner cut gives Lois respect, much like the Snyder cut gives Lois her respect, instead of the whole thirsty line from Joss Whedon, where Whedon had a whole line about how she was the thirstiest reporter. But yeah, honestly,
I forgot about that.
Yeah, we tried to forget. Honestly, Donner cut walks so that the Snyder cut can soar. Thank God for the Donner cut. Also, thank you for shouting out SnyderCon and American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. See, like we said, we don't hate Snyder. We
not at all.
Cited them and talked about the big charity associated with SnyderCon and the Snyder movement. So, obviously a great cause. Just because we might not have them as this month's charity drive doesn't mean that we no longer support them. We support all these charities. Just every month we're introducing a new one. So last month just happened to be the AFSP, and it's still a good cause.
Oh, by the way,
yep.
Addendum to my comments from the last comment. Sorry to backtrack a little bit, but just to get this on the episode, it's not as consciousness uploaded per se. It's an algorithm that would very closely resemble that of Jor-El's mind, as much as it possibly can via Kryptonian technology, which is technology indistinguishable from magic, like Arthur C. Clarke said. So, it's just wanted to get that out there. Anyway, let's proceed forward. Thank you for your comments, everybody.
Thank you, Jeremy. All right, over to the Patreon supporters, the shoutouts.
The shoutouts, everybody. Man, thanks everybody for joining recently. Like some of you, Meteor P, Christian R, Michael W, Bruce K, Tita, Sketchcraft, and Kyle B. Thank you everybody for joining, and of course everybody here up on the board, including our other supporters. And we've told you about our friends here, and we'd like you to do us a favor.
We want you to tell all your friends about it.